Please stop kicking me. Carla's trembling voice echoed across the silent restaurant as she crouched behind the counter, her arms shielding her face. The polished shoes of a man in an expensive gray suit stopped inches from her. "You incompetent fool," the man shouted, his voice sharp enough to cut glass. "Do you have any idea what this shirt costs? That's a $300 bottle of wine you ruined." Every sound in the Green Valley restaurant vanished. Forks hung midair. Conversation stopped. All eyes turned toward table 12, where the city's loudest businessman, Roberto Menda, stood towering over a terrified waitress. Carla Santos, 29, wasn't new to this. For 3 years she had worked tirelessly at Green Valley, arriving early, leaving late, covering extra shifts whenever someone called in sick. She was a single mother, raising her 7-year-old daughter, Isabella, on her own. Every tip she earned was a step toward her dream, a business degree and a better life for her child. But right now, all she could do was hold back tears. "You people shouldn't even be working here." Roberto sneered, his words dripping with disdain. "Go back to whatever slum you crawled out of." The words hit harder than his kicks. Carla's lips quivered, but she said nothing. The humiliation burned deeper than any physical pain. In the corner of the restaurant, at table 23, a man quietly put down his coffee cup. He wore a faded shirt, old jeans, and an expression of calm that contrasted the chaos around him. His name was Fernando Silva. For 6 months, he had been coming here twice a week. Always alone. Always polite. Always observant. He tipped generously, spoke kindly to everyone, and watched, not out of curiosity, but calculation. He had seen Roberto before. The arrogance. The entitlement. The way he treated people like property. And he had seen Carla too, her patience, her grace, the quiet dignity she carried through endless shifts. When Roberto yelled, "Is anyone going to do something? Or will you all just let this savage destroy my property?" the room froze. No one moved. Not even the manager. Then Fernando stood up. Not dramatically, just calmly, like someone stretching after finishing a meal. But there was something about his movement. A quiet authority that silenced even Roberto for a moment. "Excuse me," Fernando said in a steady voice, walking toward the table. "I believe there's been a misunderstanding." Roberto turned, scoffing. "And who the hell are you? Her boyfriend? Some hero?" "I'm just someone," Fernando replied, who saw exactly what happened. Carla looked up at him, her eyes meeting his. There was no pity in his gaze, only understanding. A recognition of pain he seemed to know too well. Mr. Peterson, the restaurant manager, finally appeared. "Mr. Menda, please, let's handle this civilly." "Civilly?" Roberto barked out a laugh. "This woman destroyed a shirt that costs more than her annual salary. You want me to be civilized?" Carla swallowed hard, tears welling up again. This wasn't the first time Roberto had humiliated her, but it was the worst, and most public. Every insult, every racial slur, every smirk came flooding back. In her mind, she saw Isabella's face, her sweet daughter asking just a week ago, "Mommy, why are you always sad after work?" How could she explain to a child that some people hate you just for existing? "You know what your problem is?" Roberto shouted to the whole restaurant. "You people think you belong in places like this without earning it. I built my empire from scratch, 16-hour days, real work. Not this," he gestured at Carla with disgust. Fernando tilted his head slightly, studying him. He had heard this speech before, from men who mistook privilege for hard work. He also knew something Roberto didn't. For months, Fernando had been quietly investigating Green Valley and its clients. He knew that Roberto's empire was built not on sweat, but on inherited money, insider deals, and exploitation. Carla's trembling hands clutched her apron. "Mr. Peterson," she whispered, I can pay for the shirt. Just don't take it from my salary all at once. I can pay in installments. You'll pay, Roberto growled. With interest. That's when Fernando spoke again. Mr. Menda, may I suggest a solution to this problem? This isn't your business, Roberto snapped. Fernando smiled faintly. Actually, it might be more my business than you realize. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and dialed. Hi, Amanda, he said calmly. Activate Legal Protocol 7. Yes, right now. We've confirmed the incident. Send the team. The entire restaurant watched, confused. Roberto frowned. What's that supposed to mean? Who do you think you are? Fernando looked up. Someone who understands that justice sometimes needs paperwork. Moments later, a woman in her 40s entered, elegant, confident, carrying a briefcase. Mr. Silva, she said professionally. We've gathered everything. Legal teams on standby. The room fell silent. Carla's eyes widened. Mr. Silva. Roberto's smirk faltered. Silva. Silva Holdings. Fernando nodded. Yes. You've heard of us. We buy mismanaged companies and fix what's broken, ethically. Amanda opened the briefcase and laid several documents on the table. These are official reports, she said evenly. 7 confirmed discrimination cases in your company. 16 wrongful terminations, all black employees. 3 ongoing lawsuits. And records of insider trading on city contracts. Roberto's face went pale. You can't prove any of that. Actually, we already have, Fernando replied. And as of this morning, every one of your major clients has received these files. Whispers rippled through the restaurant. People pulled out their phones, recording everything. Fernando turned to Carla. You've been patient for too long. You deserve to work where you're respected. Tell me, Carla, what did you always want to do? She blinked, hesitant. I wanted to study business. Maybe own something of my own someday. Fernando nodded. Then let's start now. Silva Holdings is acquiring this restaurant. And I want you to manage it, with a 35% partnership share. Carla gasped. The room did too. Me? That can't be. Yes, he interrupted gently. You've already shown leadership under pressure. You've built trust here. You deserve this chance. Mr. Peterson stepped forward nervously. Sir, you can't just. Amanda handed him a folder. We already own your debt, Mr. Peterson. This is just formalizing the transition. Roberto's voice cracked with fury. You planned this. You set me up. Fernando's eyes remained calm. No. You set yourself up the moment you believed your wealth made you better than others. Amanda placed one last document in front of Roberto. These are your gambling debts, $180,000 diverted from payroll. Your father has already been informed. He's issuing a public statement distancing himself from you. The proud CEO's knees nearly gave way. The empire he bragged about minutes ago was collapsing before his eyes. Fernando stepped closer. You know the difference between us, Roberto? You were born at the top and used that position to push people down. I started at the bottom, and built my success by lifting people up. Then, turning to Carla with a soft smile, shall we begin your new chapter? Carla's tears finally fell, this time, not from pain, but relief. Yes, she whispered. I'm ready. As Roberto stumbled out of the restaurant, the other customers rose and applauded. Justice, rare and beautiful, had found its moment. 6 months later. The Green Valley Community Restaurant buzzed with energy. But it wasn't just a place to eat anymore, it was a training center, giving jobs and skills to dozens from the local community. Carla stood near the counter, wearing a navy blazer. "Mom, can I help check the online orders?" Isabella asked, her backpack slung over one shoulder. "Of course, sweetheart," Carla smiled. Fernando walked in, holding certificates. 12 more graduates this week. 3 already placed in other restaurants. Carla's smile grew wider. "We're really making a difference." "You are," Fernando corrected warmly. "You turned humiliation into hope." She hesitated. "And Roberto?" "Bankrupt," Fernando said simply. "His company dissolved. He's working in a hardware store now, earning an honest living for the first time." Carla looked thoughtful. "A year ago, I just wanted him to stop hurting me. Now I see, people like him only stop when they lose the power to harm." Fernando nodded. "The best revenge isn't destruction. It's success." Isabella looked up from her homework. "Mom, my teacher said you're giving a speech about women in business." Carla smiled proudly. "Yes. I'll tell them that no matter your color, background, or struggle, competence and kindness always win in the end." As the sun set over Green Valley, laughter filled the air. The once broken woman now led a thriving business, one built on respect and purpose. And somewhere in that quiet victory, the world tilted just a little closer toward justice. Moral: true power doesn't come from money or privilege, it comes from courage, compassion, and the strength to stand up when no one else will. The sound of murmured voices fills the air. Plates clatter. A soft jazz tune hums from the speakers. The camera pans across a crowded restaurant, laughter, clinking glasses, a place alive with life. Then suddenly, a loud crash. A glass of red wine shatters across the marble floor. Cut to a waitress, Carla, early 30s, black, humble uniform, freezes, her face pale. She grabs a napkin to clean it up. But before she can move, a voice thunders, deep, furious, dripping with entitlement. "Roberto, CEO. What have you done? This is a $2,000 suit." He slams his chair back and stands, towering over her. "Carla. I'm so sorry, sir. It was an accident, I didn't." "Roberto. Didn't think. That's your problem. You people never think." The entire restaurant falls silent. A spoon drops somewhere. A couple at another table exchange uneasy glances. Carla bends to wipe the mess, but as she leans down, his polished shoe hits her hand. Carla, whimpering. Please stop kicking me." A tear rolls down her cheek. She doesn't look up. She's learned that looking up only makes them angrier. "Roberto. You're lucky I don't fire you myself." He raises his hand as if to strike again. And that's when a quiet voice cuts through the tension. "Fernando, OS. That's enough." Everyone turns. A man in his 40s, Fernando Silva, sits calmly at a corner table. Plain white shirt, worn jeans, dark coffee in front of him. He stands, slowly, deliberately. There's no anger on his face, only quiet certainty. "Fernando." She said stop. "You heard her." Roberto, mocking laugh. "Who the hell do you think you are? Her bodyguard?" Fernando. "No. Just someone who still remembers what dignity looks like." The room buzzes with whispers. Even the waiters stop moving. Manager, nervously. "Sir, please, let's handle this." Roberto, snapping. "Stay out of this." He steps closer to Fernando, his tone venomous. "Roberto. You don't know who I am." Fernando, softly. "Maybe not. But I know exactly what you are." A beat of silence. Then, Fernando gestures for Carla to stand. She hesitates, afraid of losing her job. Fernando, gentle. It's okay. You're safe now. Carla slowly rises. Her hands tremble. She wipes her tears with the back of her wrist. Roberto. Safe. She's finished here. I'll make sure she never works in this city again. Fernando. You've already said too much. He pulls out his phone, speaks calmly. Fernando, into phone. Amanda. Protocol 7. Green Valley location. Yes, live recording enabled. Roberto frowns. Recording? Fernando. The cameras here are owned by one of my companies. They've been active for weeks, documenting everything. Including this. The color drains from Roberto's face. Roberto. You can't. Fernando. Oh, but I can. I've seen you humiliate this woman before. I've seen how you treat staff, like furniture. I've also seen the bank records that prove your company's been funneling money through offshore accounts. Carla looks up, stunned. The crowd murmurs. Fernando, continuing. For months, I've been investigating men like you. And you just gave me exactly what I needed, on camera. Roberto, shouting. You can't destroy me. I own this city. Fernando. Not anymore. Door opens, Amanda enters. A sharp, professional woman with a briefcase. She walks straight to Fernando's side. Amanda. Mr. Silva, everything's confirmed. Legal division is ready. Your signatures here and here, please. She slides papers across the table. Fernando, signing. Thank you. Effective immediately, Silva Holdings is purchasing Green Valley and freezing Menda Corporation's pending contracts. Roberto's jaw drops. Roberto. You're insane. You can't just. Amanda. Actually, he can. Your assets are already under review for federal violations. Roberto, stammering. This is a setup. Fernando. No, this is accountability. He turns to Carla. Fernando, softly. You've worked here for 3 years, haven't you? Always first in, last out. Loyal, patient, and disrespected. Carla nods slightly, tears still glistening. Fernando. Tell me something, Carla. What would you do if you had the chance to run this place the right way? Carla, hesitant. I don't know. I always dreamed of owning a little cafe. A place where people feel safe. Fernando, smiling. Then let's make that dream real. You're the new manager, and partial owner. 35% shares, starting today. Gasps ripple through the restaurant. Carla, shocked. Sir, I can't accept that. Fernando. You've already earned it. He hands her the signed papers. Fernando, turning to crowd. This restaurant will now train and hire workers from underprivileged communities. Real jobs, fair pay, no discrimination. That's how business should be done. Applause slowly begins, first from one table, then another, until the whole restaurant erupts. Roberto storms out, humiliated, cameras flashing in his face. True power is not in wealth or status, it's in humanity.